What's going on, everybody? I typically don't do product reviews or unboxing videos, but I wanted to do a tutorial of this little gadget called the Mevo Smart so that I can show you how to turn this image into this. Okay, so let's get straight to it. You're excited, you open your camera, you plug it up, and by default, it is set to automatic. Now, the first thing that you want to do is kind of fiddle around with the adjustments and oh wow, look, it has HDR. Let's see what that does. Ta-da! Oh wow, look how bright it is and how beautiful. Wrong. Look how grainy it is. Look how washed out it looks. Now, I can show you how to take this image with 3 simple settings and some basic lighting techniques and turn it into something that is going to look very professional for either you or your clients. Let's start first by getting out of automatic mode. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn HDR off. Now we're going to go to custom and we're going to then go to auto and set it to manual mode. We're going to focus primarily on the following 3 settings: shutter, ISO, and white balance. As you can see, by default, it is set at a shutter speed of 1/30. The ISO is 800, which is contributing to it looking a little bit lighter than it's supposed to. And then the white balance is automatic, which it's trying to detect white and make it look white. But even though it does a pretty good job in all this, it's still not giving you the best quality possible. Now, by default, your shutter speed is set to 1/30. So the first thing you want to do, since we know that the Mevo Start is a 30 frame per second camera, is double the shutter speed and set it to 1/60. So 30 frames per second is going to correspond to 1/60. All right. Now you see that it kind of got a little darker, and how do we get around that? Oh, well, let's mess with the ISO. Let's brighten it up a little bit. But this is not the proper technique. Why? Because the higher the ISO, the more grain you're going to get. So what you actually want to do is lower the ISO to the lowest setting possible, and that would be 100. And it's going to get even darker. Like, hey, what are you doing? You're ruining my video. Trust me. All right, so this is where the lighting comes in. Okay, you want to have your ISO set to the lowest level possible. And now I'm going to turn on my ring light, and you don't necessarily have to have a ring light. You can have one of these lights that I purchased at Home Depot that I kind of have laying around in my garage, and sometimes I use to supplement my lighting. But I'm going to turn on my ring light now, and it's about maybe a yard away from me and about a half a foot above my head, so that is eliminating any type of shadows. And see that looks a little bit better, but it looks very flat. We need to have some separation between the background and the foreground, and we achieve that with lighting. And all I'm gonna do is simply turn on this light, ambient light that I have there, and wow, look at that separation. That already looks like just different, right? Now, I don't like my skin tone with this automatic white balance. It kind of looks magenta-ish. It looks somewhat natural, but I do see a lot of magenta. I don't know if you guys see it, right? So we're gonna go ahead, and I know that this ring light that's in front of me is graded or rated at 5500 Kelvin. So here in white balance, it allows you to select tungsten, daylight, cloudy, fluorescent. Oh, and there goes the kelvins. And I'm gonna set it to 55. There we go. All right, now you might say, well, that looks a little bit warmer, but if you were sitting here with me in this room, this is what you would actually see. Now, we know that it's not overly warm because my lace, my hoodie lace is still white. If you look at the white here. So now the next thing that we're gonna do is frame the image. Now that we have a very good exposure, we have the right frame rate, we have the white color balance. I saw a couple of videos of guys doing tutorials with this, and they're showing you the zoom, the crop, and I'm gonna tell you guys, you do not want to mess with any of that. I haven't messed with it yet. I come from the background of using DSLR cameras with prime lenses primarily. So if I need to zoom, I'll switch the lens or I'll reposition my camera. I never zoom. In videography, that is a big no-no. That is what separates the boys from the men. So following the rule of thirds, I'm gonna scoot this back some to about 3 to 4 feet, maybe about 3 because I don't have enough room on this table. Okay, and then we're gonna try to position it according to the rule of thirds, and I'm gonna lower my camera about there. And look at that. Look at that. It's still a little bit higher than I want it to be. And maybe. Okay. There we go. All right, so what is the rule of thirds? The rule of thirds is like a framing that makes your image look very interesting. So we divide the frame into threes. This is 1/3, then you have your middle third, and then you have your other third, and then you do the same with the width of it or length of it, right? You divide that into thirds. So your upper third should always be at about eye level, and we should either be here or or here, but never centered. Centered, it just looks amateurish. It looks like, I mean, like you're on a webcam. And then lower third is down here. You can have your horizon line, or even if you're doing titlings, graphics, that's why that's called the lower third, like on the news or whatnot. But anyways, I mean, look at the difference of how this framing looks. Again, I told y'all this was not going to be a tutorial of how to, you know, set it up, how to switch, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to present the image quality that you can get by taking a few very basic steps. Now, I know I have a ring light, and you guys might say, oh, well, you have professional equipment or semi-professional equipment to get that image. Well, let's do this. Let's turn this light off. And now let's use something that everybody has at home. So this light isn't as bright as the other one, and there's a couple of other adjustments that we will have to make. So see the white balance. Again, this looks orange, so we have to fix that. And we're gonna start by doing that. We're gonna go to the white balance, and typically these lights are at about 32K. The back one is a soft white. I'm not quite sure what that's rated at, but I know when they're orange like this, they're typically 32K, a regular light bulb. And you can already see that it's looking a lot better. 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. There we go. All right, now the problem with this is that there's not enough light. So in this case, what you do want to do is maybe turn it up just a little bit. That might be a little bit too bright. That might be too bright. I'll go ahead and go back to 100. And what I'll do, I'm gonna go ahead and open my window just a smidge so that I can get a little bit of a fill light. And see what that does. I mean, it's not, you know, the best, the way that the ring light is, but it's definitely better than this. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that moving forward you can really get familiar with your settings so that you can dial in the look that you want, set up a couple of lights here and there that are going to improve your overall production value and image quality.